Welcome everyone to this new Privacy Rules Privacy Espresso episode. My name is Alessandro Di Mattia, Legal and Executive Officer at Privacy Rules. Today I'm joined by Padraig Walsh from the Hong Kong-based law firm Witt. Padraig is partner of the firm and one of their main experts for what concerns technologies, privacy and data protection in particular. And what we are going to discuss with Padraig today is, of course, related to this matter, and in particular to data exchanges between Hong Kong and mainland China. The topic is indeed related to the creation of new standard contract in the so-called Greater Bay Area. So first of all, I would like to thank Padraig for being with us today. With my first question, that is, what is the Greater Bay Area? What are we talking about?
Well, the Greater Bay Area is the term that's used in this part of the world for the area that encompasses Guangdong Province, the Macau Special Administrative Region, and the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. And it's been a significant policy initiative over the last many years, actually, but certainly in the last decade, to encourage greater economic and social integration between Hong Kong in particular and the rest of the Greater Bay Area. So to put things in an economic context, the GDP of that particular area, the Greater Bay Area, is more significant, it's larger than, say, the San Francisco Bay Area. It's larger than the New York metropolitan area. So as an area of economic significance, it is a place of tremendous economic significance, but within that area, there are three different legal jurisdictions: Hong Kong, Macau, and then Guangdong Province itself. So this has led to some of the challenges that arise in respect of achieving greater integration, one of which is in relation to data flow, because the system of law that applies in Guangdong Province is the system of law under PRC laws, under the Personal Information Protection Law, the PIPL, as well as the Data Security Law and the Cybersecurity Law. And those laws don't directly apply in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a special administrative region. What that means is that it is a separate legal system under the one country, two systems principle. So there's actually a different system of law that applies in respect of data privacy and data protection in Hong Kong. It's under the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance, which dates back to 1996, but is generally considered to be a lighter touch system than applies under the PIPL. And therein lies some of the challenges. How do you get data to flow between Hong Kong and the rest of Guangdong Province in particular, in a way that's a necessary ingredient for greater economic integration, because data makes money when data can move and be processed in different places. So you get insights that can then be shared and monetized in different ways. How can you achieve that where you have restrictions, well, not really strict restrictions, but different procedures that need to be followed in order for data to move from Guangdong Province to Hong Kong? And that's been the subject matter of the new guidance that's been published in relation to what's called cross-boundary data transfer in the Greater Bay Area between Hong Kong and the rest of Guangdong Province.
Thanks a lot for this quick introduction on the topic, Padraig. I think it also clarified why it is significant to have such a contract between Hong Kong and China, because there is big business in the area. More on the technicalities, you are speaking about guidelines and standard contract, indeed, as you were saying, a cross-boundary data transfer standard contract. How does the transfer work according to this document we're speaking about?
Well, let me put this in context. For a start, a couple of points of definition. One is we refer to a cross-boundary transfer because there isn't a border between Hong Kong and the rest of China. We are one country. So it is a boundary. It's a boundary between two different legal jurisdictions. The other is to explain that the scope of this particular initiative, this facilitation measure, it's limited to Guangdong Province specifically. So it's around data transfers that occur between Hong Kong and Guangdong province, and more specifically, the 10 cities that form part of the Greater Bay Area. Sorry, the 9 cities within China, within Guangdong province that form the Greater Bay Area constituents there. And what that means is that there's a special system, more on an administrative side, to facilitate data transfers from Guangdong province to Hong Kong in circumstances where the standard contract has been signed, filed, and followed in both jurisdictions. So there would be a standard contract in place which describes what the obligations are of the transferring party, what the obligations are of the recipient, and also what the implementation measures are between them. One of which would involve a filing that is done in Hong Kong and a filing that is done with the relevant municipal body in China. What it doesn't cover is a data transfer from, say, some other part of China outside of Guangdong province to Hong Kong. That still must follow the requirements under the Personal Information Protection Law. Now, one of the things that the standard contract promises is that there will be an easier administrative flow and process in relation to the data transfers occurring. There are a couple of things that this would arise from that. One is that the impact assessment follows a simpler procedure. There needs to be an impact assessment before data can be transferred from mainland China outside of mainland China. And also the quantitative limit in respect of the amount of data that can be transferred from mainland China outside of mainland China is also removed once the standard contract is in place. So there are ways of facilitating more data transfers, particularly from mainland China to Hong Kong, under these facilitative measures. Now, having said that, it's also recommended by the Hong Kong Privacy Commissioner, the PCPD, that Hong Kong parties that are transferring personal data to Guangdong province should also adopt and enter into the standard contract as a means of facilitating that particular data transfer. The rules and the laws that would govern the data transfer would continue to be those of Hong Kong law, where the data controller or data user, as it's called here, will be subject to the jurisdiction of the PCPD here. But it is something that is recommended. It's not mandatory, but it is recommended in order to be able to have mutuality in respect of that relationship.
That's fantastic and very interesting, Padraig. In particular, as you were stressing, there might be higher interest from the Chinese side, the PRC side, to use it to transfer data to Hong Kong. But of course, it's mutual. There is mutual interest in simplifying things. In particular, when you deal with complex regulations like the one we have in China, the so-called PIPL, as you were saying at the very beginning, that is well known internationally for its complexity also under the cybersecurity side. It's pretty clear that this is going to simplify things. What do you see, or what do you envisage in the future? How do you think this is going to improve things between mainland China and the Guangdong area, and which are the key advantages of having these in place for the future in particular?
Well, I think where we'll see the most benefit is in industries and organizations where a significant amount of personal information and personal data needs to be transferred in order for those businesses to work effectively across the boundary between Hong Kong and mainland China. So in the early pilot phase, the three industries that are being targeted are the banking industry, the credit reference industry, and the healthcare industry. Each of them involves, a significant volume of personal information, and each of them you can see either on the basis of developing more services on the financial services side, where you need to have some facility to be able to transfer data easily, and on the social side in respect of healthcare, where people are traveling between Hong Kong and Guangdong province a lot in respect of where they live and where they work. So having the healthcare needs in both locations, you need to have a mechanism by which personal information can be safely and securely shared within those institutions also. So you can see that there will be some lessons to be learned from that pilot phase, and then it will be rolled out from there to other organizations and to other sectors. Now, it is voluntary. This is not something that is a compulsory measure, but it's coming with the support and with the recommendation of the PCPD in Hong Kong, and also with the Cybersecurity Administration in the PRC. So it's something that is being advocated on both sides, and it is something that is a special measure to support the greater integration of the Greater Bay region, given its peculiarities in respect of there being different legal jurisdictions there.
That sounds as an interesting achievement, and it's clear that there are joint efforts in simplifying things and make it working. In particular, because probably there is knowledge that the data transfer is a relevant market and is also a sensitive one, as you rightly underlined, for what concerns, for example, healthcare. That is a sector that is very much how to say protected by many countries, and of course there as well. Padraig, we are running out of our time. I would say thank you once more for being with us today and for this quick overview you are providing us during this Privacy Espresso. I would like to also thank our listeners for being with us also today. So I would also, probably this is one of the last Privacy Espressos we have before holidays. So I would like to wish to Padraig and also all our listeners happy holidays and happy new year in particular. And I look forward to meeting you all with the next Privacy Espresso episode. So thanks once more, Padraig, and thanks everyone.